Hello and welcome to Shapes of Grief. My name is Liz Gleeson and I am the creator of the Shapes of Grief training program. I'm a psychotherapist who specializes in grief and loss, and I come to you from three different perspectives. I'm a clinician, so I see people regularly in my clinical practice here, people who are suffering from different types of losses and with a wide range of grief responses. I'm also a researcher with 3 master's degrees, and I'm currently a PhD student. I'm also an educator. Currently, I'm module coordinator for 2 of the modules and the Irish Hospice Foundation Masters in Loss and Bereavement. So I'm bringing you my expertise from these 3 different areas, as do many of the 26 contributors on this program. Shapes of Grief offers one of the best, if not the best, online grief training program available today. It covers 40 hours of research-informed grief training and education delivered by 26 international specialists from around the globe. It will give you immediate tools that you can apply in your clinical practice or whatever field of work that you're in, so that you can be better equipped to understand grief and to support those who are grieving in an appropriate and timely manner so that they have the very best possible bereavement outcomes. The course is divided into 4 modules: the theories and models of grief, the topology of grief, perspectives of grief and types of loss, and also grief in clinical practice. You can go through the modules chronologically in your own time, at your own pace. They are pre-recorded, and there's no time limit to your access to these modules. So if you sign up today but can't complete for 6 months, that's absolutely fine. And there are CPD certificates available at the end of each module after you do a short quiz. There's also an overall CPD certificate available when you've completed all 4 quizzes. So the course offers you a total of 40 hours of CPD practice. We don't have bereavement standards here in Ireland, but in the UK they certainly do. And bereavement standards there say that anybody working, supporting people in the area of grief and loss need to have at least 30 hours of grief training or grief education before they embark on this work, and then at least 12 hours of CPD per annum that you are working supporting bereaved people. You probably don't have this because many people don't. There's a real deficit in properly trained professionals in this area, which is exactly why I've designed Shapes of Grief. It's to address this deficit and to have more grief trained, more grief informed, grief educated mental health practitioners, because the people who are bereaved simply aren't getting adequate support at the moment. And regular counselling and psychotherapy simply does not address the needs of the bereaved person if the practitioner is not trained. On completion of the Shapes of Grief course, you can expect to have some of the following: a deeper understanding of grief theory and practice and its evolution during the last century. You'll also learn why the stages of grief are a myth and why we need to dispel them. And you'll be more comfortable, much more comfortable, working alongside people who are grieving and offering them adequate, appropriate support. You'll have a much deeper understanding of how grief manifests in the body and how grief manifests in the nervous system. You'll be able to identify different types of losses and some of the many different types of grief. You'll understand a little bit about the psychological manifestation of grief and how our responses as practitioners and indeed the responses of other people can either ease the experience of grief or exacerbate the experience of grief. You'll understand why we don't heal from grief or get over grief, but why we learn to accommodate grief. You'll come to know the signs of prolonged grief disorder and understand how its treatment differs from regular psychotherapy. You'll certainly become familiar with the needs of a grieving person and how best to meet those needs in clinical practice. We will look at certain common themes that can arise following bereavement by suicide, perinatal loss, parental loss, sibling loss, spousal loss, divorce and separation, miscarriage, what it means to grieve if we are Black, what it means to grieve if we are LGBTQ, how children's grief differs from adult grief. So enjoy the program. There's a wealth of knowledge and wisdom literally at your fingertips. And congratulations for taking the step today to become grief trained so that the people that you're supporting can have the very best possible outcome. Well done.